is your Saturday going? I know it's early, but for us in the UK, it's already very, very hot. My name is Ken Boyter, but you probably know that because you've been watching Edra Tales, and I forgot to put the sign up. Edra Tales Twitch channel and the Edra Tales YouTube channel. And this is Grocklesnook from The Bottled Imp. If you want to go and check out over 450 fancy film reviews, fancy book reviews, and fancy board game reviews, go over to The Bottled Imp YouTube channel. That's the channel that myself and my friend Julian set up all those years ago. I think it was about 10 years ago, which is crazy talk. So how is everybody? Hopefully you've had a lovely week. We had a mid-week live stream, which we always do every Wednesday 7 PM UK time, there or thereabouts. I'm normally about 5 minutes late, like today, although actually I was early, and that confused people. People are like, what, it's 7 o'clock and you're live streaming? Yeah, I know I say 7 o'clock and I'm normally there about 5 past, but I was there, bosh, about 1 minute past actually, and people got confused. So yes, we did play Death Trap Dungeon. It was part 6, so we've done 6 sessions already, and we lost. We normally have a 3 life cheat anyway, but that was our 3rd life, and so we didn't manage to complete the Death Trap Dungeon. So I'd never played this Fighting Fantasy book. I know. If you're into your Fighting Fantasies, this is a classic. But yeah, I felt a bit of a fraud going to Fighting Fantasy Festival all those times and not having played Death Trap Dungeon. So I'm glad to have played another one, because this is actually a lot of people's favourites, I think, and I can see why, because there's Ian keeps it, it's by Ian Livingstone, he keeps it fresh because it's basically a dungeon crawl, and so you think, how can you keep a dungeon crawl fresh? And when I was writing my book, hello, good morning or good afternoon, Leverin, how are you? Sips chamomile milk tea from a Snoopy paper cup. That's living the dream right there, Leverin. When I wrote my To Kill a Thief game book, very first one, I did have a bit of a section where it was, you know, underground, it's dungeon crawling, and you do sort of go, yeah, how can you make it different? Because, you know, if you're walking around a dungeon, you know, or an underground caverns, you think, well, they're all the same, you know, how can you make each room different, or each decision you make is going to be slightly different from the other one? So he does a very good job of actually keeping the pace going, having a few emotional moments as well, which is obviously really what you want. I always think, even it doesn't matter if it's a game book, if you're writing a novel or a game book, you should try to have those emotional moments where, you know, you're connecting to the characters. So obviously in a game book, you're the main character, you're the character that's making all the decisions, everything else is happening around you, and so you kind of need to somehow connect your reader, who's the hero, who's the main protagonist, to the other characters. So you've got to have that emotional connection, because otherwise they won't care. So when I was writing my book, I was thinking, I want to make decisions meaningful as much as I can. Sometimes it's hard because you need them just to get from point A to point B. But hopefully I've got lots of meaningful decisions that you would make, and that you're actually invested, you're connected to the characters that you get introduced to. Good morning, Sally. How are you? Just talking about Death Trap Dungeon and how Ian Livingstone managed to keep it fresh. Because it's basically all set underground in a dungeon with death traps. So it would be, I was just saying, how do you actually keep that fresh and keep it entertaining and engaging? And I think he does a very good job with that. And one aspect was to try and connect the reader, who's the main protagonist, to the characters, so you care about the characters. Is that a new one? No, this is the one we've just been doing for the past 6 weeks. It's good to see you listening in. No, that's fair enough. Yeah, no, this is an old one. This is a classic. I don't know which number it was in the original run, but this was number 3 in the Wizard books, 2002. Oh, I see. So they actually reprinted them fairly close to the original time, like 20 years later. Okay. Okay, Lee Rin has put here, I noticed during our playthrough that Ian made sure to pay special emphasis to the fungi, crystals and creepy crawlies in each district area of the tunnels, giving the environment a cinematic, evocative, lived-in feel. Good afternoon, Sally. He knew that, of course you knew that. You're just testing me, weren't you? So we were... yeah, that's interesting. So the fungi, the crystals and the creepy crawlies, yeah, to make it slightly different. Yeah. I think because we did do another one, didn't we? We did do... we did Trial of Champions, didn't we? Yeah, I can't remember now. That's terrible. Oh no, we didn't do Trial of Champions. We did the latest one, which what was it? Something on Blood Island, Dungeons on Blood Island. That's what we did, and that is a direct sequel to this one, I think, or a sequel to Trial of Champions. And again, it's like, how do you keep it moving along? So I was impressed. As a writer, I don't know how that interests me, setting the whole thing in a death trap dungeon from a writer's point of view. But then again, you know, if you're writing a series of books, it's how do you keep things interesting from one book to another. So if you've not done a dungeon crawl, you'd probably go, oh yeah, let's do an out-and-out dungeon crawl. Now I might be eating my words. Say I'm on book 6 of my game book series. I might go, right, how can I keep things fresh? Oh, okay, let's do a dungeon crawl. So, you know, I'm not ruling it out. It's just that wouldn't be my first choice. And I think mainly because how do you keep things like that fresh? In To Kill a Thief, I've got part dungeon crawls where you go into the sewers, and I won't spoil it too much, but there are other aspects where you go underground, and I did try to keep it fresh as well. But I think with Ian and Steve Jackson, who set these up, they had a lot of D&D experience because they were, you know, the first people to really get into D&D in the UK. They bought the D&D rights, didn't they, to sell at Games Workshop. So they had been playing that for a while. So they probably had ideas, you know, their heads were in that dungeon crawl space. My only other reservation is, dungeon crawls have been done to death. So how do you keep it fresh, and how do you keep people interested? I guess if you like dungeon crawls, you'd want to read more dungeon crawls. But if you're like, oh, not another dungeon crawl. So again, there is that aspect of it. So I don't know if I will ever do a complete dungeon crawl. However, I've loaded up the computer, and we are going to be. I've put a vote onto the Edra Tales Facebook group of which game book you would like next. So if you go onto the Edra Tales Facebook group, then you can vote. Let's see. Okay, so Lee. So right, okay, yeah. So Lee has actually voted. So we've got. Which game book should we do now? The Goblin's Revenge. Lee Rin has put here. Mansions, prisons, and even asylums are not quite cities, but still alive communities, non-viral. Non-ruins variant of dungeons. Yeah, that's a very good point, actually, Lee Rin. Yeah, that's an excellent point. You do want areas where the character can bump into other characters. So I guess, yeah, big mansion has got, you know, maybe the upstairs downstairs divide, you know, the downstairs staff, you know, and the aristocrats. Or you could swing that around and, you know, you have it a different mansion, that it's an abandoned mansion, but there's, you know, squatters, and that, you know, it could be haunted. So again, you still have a mixture of people. Prisons, yeah, that's always a good one. Asylums would be good, yeah. So yeah, that's a very good point actually. Enclosed spaces, castles would be another one. In fact, in this, I have got a mansion. I have got a mansion in this. I'm not going to tell you any more about that. You'll have to read the book. So we have The Goblin's Revenge by Anthony Prentice. That is an Osborne one. The evil sorcerer Darkmane has the kingdom in his grip, and the only hope of stopping him is the treacherous quest to try and find the last remaining rebels and help them end his reign. With a horde of undead warriors on your trail and a series of bud-curdling challenges ahead of you, it will be a terrifying task for anyone. But you're just a goblin, which makes things even more challenging. So, Goblin's Revenge, that is another one of the Osborne family, if you like, series, which I've really enjoyed. We've played 3 of them, or is it 4 of them? I can't remember now. 3 of them. Cursebreaker, I can't quite see the next one. They're very good. And then we've got another one, I thought, because they are good and I do like them, we've got another one in the series, Portal of Chaos by Sinem Thudhope. Not that you have any interest in being a hero. You're a bounty hunter. In your line of work, heroes don't last long. But now you've been given a mission you can't refuse. Make it out alive and you'll never need to work again. Fail and, well, you'll never need to work again. And so, staring up at the stars from the cockpit of your spaceship, hello, you blast off to an epic adventure where every choice is yours and your survival depends upon the decisions you make. Who to fight, who to trust, in a book where nothing is as it seems. You find yourself grappling with forces beyond your darkest dreams. And you realise it's not just your fate hanging in the balance. No, the universe needs a hero. And like it or not, that hero is you. So a bit of a sci-fi one there, Portal of Chaos. Louis XVI Palace, a veritable enclosed mini-city unto itself, with factions fighting each other, with as much gossip and parties as they do swords, is a prime example of an above ground dungeon campaign. That'd be pretty cool, actually. Imagine that. Yeah, you are in Louis XVI Palace. You're one of his courtiers or something, and you're trying to overthrow him. Is Louis XVI? Is he the one that they overthrew? I don't. Is that Les Mis territory? But yeah, that sounds a great story. If you were into history, see, I wouldn't necessarily write that because I like to create my own characters and my own situations. But you could take that. You could at least take that and model it on that. Yeah, the last emperor who lost his head with. Oh yeah. Yeah, that would be. Well, that would be quite a good story, wouldn't it? I guess, would you do it real life? You could do a series of... Okay, does anybody know? Is there a history... Has any... They must have done it. Choose Your Own Adventure. Has anyone done a proper historical game book series where, for example, you take Louis XVI Palace and you do it as historically accurate as possible? Has anyone done that? Because what you'd have to do... The problem with that is that obviously things are fixed in time. So we know that they lost their heads. We know that the rebels won. So you couldn't change that outcome, but you could probably still make decisions to get you to that point. Do you see what I mean? So the big major outcomes don't change, but your little decisions do. Played a few of the Sherlock Holmes game books, never quite beaten them yet. Oh, I see. Right. Yeah, so Sherlock Holmes obviously, you know, was not a real person. we do know that, don't we? But I see what you mean. Yeah, that's taking real life London and using events. You could use events within history. Yeah, that are fixed in time. I'm just trying to think, because you could do the suffragette movement as well, couldn't you? you could play a suffragette trying to, you know, establish, you know, women getting the vote, and you could do a game book around that. But certain key things have to happen, because you couldn't necessarily change what's gone on in history anyway, because I think people would go, well, that never happened. You know, that never happened. Do you see what I mean? And I think when you start setting stuff in real life, it breaks people's breaks the magic if things that actually happened. Just trying to think this through. If they actually happened and then you've changed them in the game book, I don't think people would like that. I think people want things to be as they are, but you can have a hand in how that's shaped. Does that make sense? Yeah. So the Sherlock Holmes good. Who wrote those, Lerin? Maybe we should do a few Sherlock Holmes. Let me have a quick look on that then. Are they old ones or are they new ones? Let's have a look. Amazon. Sherlock Holmes game books. Now I've got there the Sherlock Holmes Escape Room. The Disappearance of it, that's another exit. Unsolved Case Files, Sherlock Holmes, Cryptic Puzzles. These, I don't know about a game book. Children, yeah, what's that? Was okay, played a few. Unless it was clear from the title of the series, e.g., Twisted History or something. The martress who leapt in front of those standing horses shouting votes for women with her last breath earned my respect. In that instant, I read of her back in high school. Now that's courage and character. Yes, absolutely. That's a very key point, isn't it? So if you were to write a game book about the suffragettes and you played a suffragette, you couldn't have it where she survives. You know, that's a key thing that happened in history, and that has a profound effect on the whole movement. And so in the game book, you couldn't have it where do you jump out in front of her and save her? You know, it's like, I feel like that would be a bit weird. People, I don't think, would like that. That's kind of weird. The Penguin. It looks like the only ones I can find, unless it's an old book, the Sherlock Escape Rooms, rather than a game book. That would be diversive to her heroic memory. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's why I don't think you should. If you were to write a proper historical game book, you'd have to keep the key things in line. Has anyone actually written historical game books? Real life game books. Oh yeah, Andre Deschy. These game books allow readers to experience events of various historical periods from the 11th century through to the 19th century firsthand. In each book, reader creates a character by distributing 50 points between 7 different attributes and skills, which vary from book to book, and some involve the use of equipment such as a timer. Use equipment specific to the time. These skills are then tested against roll 260 dice. In most books, the reader must keep track of wounds, which are equal to half of his or her strength attribute. The adventures with modern weaponry, however, single hit is enough to kill the main character, so tracking was unnecessary. The books were first published in England, with a similar release in hardback and paperback a couple of years later. These 3 titles were released in the United States. So, game books: Madame Guillotine, the French Revolution. The Last Invasion, 1066. Sword and Flame, the English Civil War. Through the Wire, The Great Escape. Redcoats and Mutant Men, the American War of Independence, Thunder in the Glens, the Jacobite Rebellion, Blazing Beacons, the Spanish Armada, The Fear Factor, Terrorism in the City. They sound pretty cool. Yeah. This series has a really interesting, instead of being set in fantasy, it makes fictional characters and real world events in history. It's stand choices number. I wanted to like this series, but I just can't. Oh, so this is a review. This is actually on gamebooks.org. I want to like this series, but I can't. Like a lot of game books, the writing is sparse. The short sections, so you never learn much about your character and never feel anything for him. I blame fighting fantasy for establishing the brief sections as the norm. Since the sections are so short, there's little dialogue. It feels like the writers are telling rather than showing. My two pet peeves, no characterization and random pointless page flipping. I'll probably try most of them available online, but I've already tried the most interesting period, 1066, according to him. The subject matter they've chosen wasn't so interesting, and when they focus on actual historical events, which you can't alter, it isn't as much fun as it would have been just focusing on time periods. That's a good point. So, eras I would have selected: Roman Empire, Byzantine, Viking, Crusade, Feudal Japan, 100 Years' War, Mughal invasions, Portuguese exploration. Not only were these but interesting, the later periods would give writers more flexibility. Overall, the concept here is brilliant. Execution is poor. Sherlock Holmes book are on. Oh, are they on there? They're too brilliant. Thank you, Sally. So that reviewer. So there's lots of people that review on this website, I would imagine. KVETO, Kevito, had made a very good point. Rather than picking specific things in history, which is interesting, but you can't alter them. So you just pick that area. So you set something in the Viking period or something in the Roman period or something in the... And therefore, you can then... You don't have to mention the main events. You can just have those adventures that your character is. Yeah. If they're the same one, Lee-Rin, it looks like the books are broken anyway, so very hard to beat. Oh, I see. Well done, Sally. Let's have a look. Yeah, so Sherlock Holmes. Oh, yeah. There's quite a few, actually. Graphic novel adventures, Sherlock Holmes. The Sherlock Holmes Escape Book. The Games of Dr. Watson, interactive Sherlock Holmes murder mystery. Right, yeah. Sherlock Holmes, the Merrington Papers. (1986). That goes way back. 45 sections. Wow, it's not that long. Oh, well, let's have a look. So Sally's put here by Gerald Lindsay. Let's put his name in. Gerald. Hang on, can't spell his name. Gerald Lentz. Oh, I can't find that. Hang on. Sherlock Holmes. Gerald Lentz. Oh, I see. Yeah, Amazon, Goodreads, series, yeah, library thing. Okay. On Goodreads. Well, on Goodreads they seem to be getting relatively good scores. So he's done quite a few. Rather than explore, lousy autocorrect. Hang on. Suddenly remembered one where you travel back in time to the 19th century in Melbourne, Bollard Goldfields. Unfortunately, rather than let unploughed, the unique Victoria time period, it over-focused on wilderness survival and outrunning a bushfire, missing out on the time period almost entirely. Yeah, rather than explore. Called Sherlock Holmes Solo Mysteries. That's the ones. I've just found them. Thank you, Sally. Yeah. Sherlock, yeah. So they were done in the 80s. 87, this one was published. So 10 people have given this one a 5 stars. 14 people give it 4 stars. One person gave it 1 stars. Not much a game, way too random for that. But the 2 cases presented are quite entertaining. It's clear that the writer's a fan of Sherlock Holmes. Yeah. I read the French version. What a fun romp. The book is broken up into over 500 parts. You are the sloth. I think that's meant to be sleuth. Although that'd be quite cool. You are the sleuth. You're the sloth. And as to find the culprit, you keep flipping from one part to another. Great puzzle, a fun afternoon. Disappointing game book, says Ren. Mostly because of the broken dice mechanism. Finding clues relies only on luck and pursuing every conversation the book offers you. The book is divided into 2 cases. The first is a short introduction, a gameplay and a bit of luck. I managed to get the clues enough to guess who the culprit was. The second case, however, is a train wreck. In the middle of the investigation, you're given a code. If you crack it, you drop everything and go straight to chasing after the fleeing murderer. This is, again, completely dependent on which numbers you get the dice throws. The murderer got away, and the book told me that I could reflect on what I did wrong and try again. Well, gee, I didn't know. Maybe I should have got a 3 on that last dice throw. Silly me. Concept is good and they're well written, but the dice are frustrating, and the fact that you already know the culprit after the first paragraph gives the book little replay value. Edit, after the second paragraph. I still haven't used any of the money or equipment that I was given in my character sheet, and I'm wondering what even the point of that. Yeah, there's also so many points in which you have to ask 1 or 2 questions, but if you pick one of them, the book lets you ask a second question at the end of the conversation. Well, if you pick the other automatically, you move to the next scene and lose a clue. There's no rhyme nor reason to it. That's a shame. That's a shame. So the dice mechanism makes it a bit broken. But it feels like that they were pretty good, that they actually were well written. And maybe, because it's done in the 80s, maybe it's time for a new way of doing it. And then, obviously, game book authors now have learnt from the past, so you would make sure that you wouldn't put a dice mechanism that breaks it. A tree sloth. Sleuth. Leerin's put here. A tree sloth sleuth game book for little kids, perhaps. More family-friendly, non-lethal capers, naturally. Yeah, just like who stole the missing mango fruit? Oh, well, you can add it to your list of books to write. I know, Sally, I know. As soon as I started talking about this, and I was going, oh yeah, that's a good idea, do historical game books. I'm like, yeah, because things are going well, aren't they? In terms of me not having too many projects. It does interest me. It does interest me. But I think that's a very good point, actually. If you pick things like the Great Fire of London as an example, you can't change that. So what would be the point? So if you picked the Victorian era in London, or you picked the Wild West in America, or the Japanese feudal, times, then yeah, that's more interesting. Oh, Wind in the Willows, if written by Arthur Conan Doyle. Oh. Yeah, a tree sloth sleuth. That would be cool, wouldn't it? Doing a Wind in the Willows game book. Anyway, I'm going to update you actually on where we're going with this. Devilish Deaths, Devilish Dilemmas, I should say. To Kill a Thief. Now, I feel a bit guilty, I must admit. I've not been working on it. However, I have a slight excuse because people were still proofreading it. People were still playtesting it. So I still had a little, I've kind of got a bit of downtime with it. However, I was then cracking on. While people were playtesting it and proofreading it, I was cracking on with my illustrations on Lino. Yeah, so there you go. I've shown you this one already. So, and some of them I've double-sided. And I've shown you this much of this one. So, spoilers. So, I have, I think I've shown you this one. I'm pretty sure I've shown you this one as well. So, I have done, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've done 8 illustrations now out of 20 that I want to do. The hardback, I'm pretty sure I said I'd put 30 illustrations, so they'll get an extra 10. So this week, my focus can swing back round to the game book. So I'm very happy about that because I had to get ready for UK Games Expo. I had to get my Devilish Deaths murder mystery game ready. I had to get the prototype for that ready. So I basically had to go through, it was a bit of a nightmare. I had to scan in all these little cards. Yeah, all these little cards, double-sided, because they're different on both sides. And recreate them digitally again, because I lost the whole files for them when I had a hard drive crash, which wasn't happy. And then recreate them all again to make a new prototype. But that's fine. That's what you do. You just grin and bear it. You get on. It's Ollie in Lino. I hadn't thought of that. Or did someone else say that? Somebody else might have said that, actually. Yeah. It is Ollie. That's, yeah. He came round, posed for me. We had a few drinks. It was great. So I made little envelopes as well that you put all the cards in now. So the prototype looks slightly smarter as well. So this is for case 1, which is lost in the shuffle. So I then, because I pitched it to some publishers who did show a bit of interest, I have now put it up onto Tabletop Simulator, which is a computer-generated simulator for for board games and cards. It's really good. You can customize your cards. You choose which table you want. You put a background in. So I've selected the casino table. I've put in a casino background. So it's good for pitching board games and card games, tabletop games to publishers. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I've now spent time doing that. So all the cards are uploaded. Everything's in place. So I'm then going to invite a few publishers if they would like to, play the game on Tabletop Simulator. So that's good. That is good. So I've had to sort of deal with that. The other good news is that with Guildlands is being launched in Gen Con, which is the first week of May. And the publishers, I think I've already told you, the publishers have invited myself and Kedrick, the co-designer, to go over to Gen Con in America, which is amazing. So we are very, very grateful to them for that. And we are going to August. Thank you. I don't know why I said May. My head is May. First week in August. And yeah, they're flying us over there, and we're going to be demoing the game to keen gamers. And the way they do it in Gen Con is that you actually, in UK games, you can just walk. You just walk around, and if you see somebody with a demo table and nobody's there, you can just say, "Can you demo your game to us?" You know, you can literally just do walk-ins. I don't think there's any booking system. Whereas in America, in the Gen Con, it's all booked out. So they're actually, people sign up to demo the game. So they could probably demo 5 or 6 games a day if they want. So that's going to be really cool. So we've had a few slots already sell out, which is great. And they actually charge them, which is amazing. I was thinking, well, people are paying to come to do the demo. And the reason why Gen Con recommends that, because they said if you don't charge them, they won't turn up. They'll sign up. And so you think you're going to get people coming to your table to demo it, and they won't. They'll forget and they won't come, or they'll go, "Oh yeah, we'll do it tomorrow." And so they've clogged up a time slot, and then they don't show. Then it's like, "Oh, we've got no one to demo the game to." So if you charge a very small amount, it's something like $2, then people go, "Oh, yeah, we've paid." It kind of adds a bit of value to it, and they come to it. That's what the Gen Con, the organisers, suggest. That's their experience. So we're really looking forward to that. So it's me and Kedrick. We've got 6 tables with Guildlands on, where, because the game plays up to 6 people, you could have 1 game on 1 table. Or, obviously, if there's a fewer player count, we might crack open another box. If we do get walk-in people, we might just say, "Oh, do you want a demo? Yeah, come and sit down." So it's very exciting. There's also going to be a launch party that they're doing in Toronto, so that we're going to be flown over to Toronto first to actually get shown where the main head office is and the big warehouse where they keep all the games, all their products. We're going to meet all the staff. It's going to be fantastic. And then so I think we're there for 2 days, maybe 3 nights. One of the nights is going to be like a press launch. It's going to be the actual launch of the game, where there's going to be about 30 invited guests, and they're going to be a mixture of salespeople, retailers, that kind of thing, and also reviewers. So hopefully there might be some YouTubers there, or press. I don't know. We're not organising it, but yeah, we've been told about that. So that's really exciting. So we're going to have so Kedrick and I, are going to be there. We're going to be talking about the game. I've actually still got some of the original prototypes, so I might bring them along, just so people can look at the original prototypes, on paper, just in case they're interested. Because I think some people are interested in how you design a board game. I think that's, I certainly am, obviously being a designer. And equally, when you hear Sir Ian Livingstone and Steve Jackson talk about how they come up with this, it's interesting. It's just interesting. We have 2 more guests, it seems. Hello, Jam. How are you, sir? Edra Lights. How are you? We've just been talking about game books. You've just arrived at the wrong moment. We've just been talking about game books, and now we moved on. Oh, yeah, I didn't actually get to finish off. So, vote now at the Edra Tales YouTube group. Vote now on the Edra Tales Facebook group. The Goblin's Revenge, Portal of Chaos, The Demon Sorcerer by D.L. Lewis, The Alchemist's Folly by Victoria Hancox, a second one by Victoria Hancox, The Phantom Self, and a Dave Morris one, Heart of Ice. So you guys can vote now. I've put little pictures. I've not done a poll like the Facebook because you can't put pictures on it. So I've done a little pictures of each book. And I've also given you a description of what each book is about. Afternoon, Lerin. Sips chocolate macaroons. Oh, cheeky Jam. We just had to punch the dwarf. Everyone, nobody tosses a dwarf, but everyone wants to punch one. Yeah, so we've just been talking about game books and how historical game books could be quite good, actually. The only problem with that is that if you have an historical game book and you pick a particular thing in history, you can't alter that. It's weird if you altered it. So it might not be brilliant to do. However, if you pick a period of history, you can explore that era. So if you pick Egyptian, Egypt, that'd be fantastic as a game book, game book setting. If you picked, I don't know, Victorian London's always interesting, feudal Japan, Wild West. You could pick really cool eras of history. Heart of Ice is regarded by many as the best game book ever. Oh, is it? Oh, wow. Well, I know Rosalind wanted to do a Dave Morris book. She really highly rates his game book. So I just thought, I don't know much. I've not really heard of him, for my shame, for my sins. So I just typed in Dave Morris and Heart of Ice came up first. So I thought, yeah, that looks cool. Leland Spirit, I see you managed to safely escape the concrete box the girls put you in and swim to the surface of the Thames afterwards. No one escapes Jam's children's horror. Yeah, and then Lerin mentioned about Sherlock Holmes games. And there was the Sherlock Holmes solo mysteries of the 80s. I don't know if you ever played any of those. But it might be worth, playing them. Book 1 seems to be a bit broken. They're watching Bluey at the moment. Bluey. I think Bluey is like the biggest watched program on Disney. I think I know that fact, which is quite extraordinary. So yeah, and then we were just talking about my murder mystery game, how I've now put it onto Tabletop Simulator, where I'm going to be pitching it to publishers. And Sally has very kindly proofread most of my game book now. She's still got some to go. And this is what I was saying, that I'm now going to be swinging back my focus to the game book, because I was waiting for playtesters to finish playtesting. Julian, I really want Julian to playtest it. He's about halfway through, I think, because he seems very, very thorough in what he does. So I do want to wait for his feedback. I have had other people's feedback, so that's great. So thank you very much. I'm on illustration 8. My next one is illustration 9, obviously. And I hope to do 20 illustrations. So next week, for the game book, to move that along for me, I'm going to start with doing the illustrations again. Let's have a look. Yeah, look at this one. I do like this one. It's kind of weird. It's one of those images that hopefully evokes, isolation and trepidation, because there's not a lot going on in it, but I like it. I just really like it. I do remember with Fighting Fantasy, where they would have, I don't know about an equal spread, but you've got things that just weren't, like this, for example. There's not a lot happening there. They're just showing you what you can see. So it's not like, so every illustration isn't always action packed and a scary monster. Sometimes it is. You've got weird faces floating in a beam of light, or a fist punching through the wall, punching through a door. But sometimes it literally is just an image of a corridor or something like that. And I really like that. Hello, Roslyn. How are you? Good morning. Nice Bob Ross hut. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. It's just put some happy little trees in the background. I haven't got any happy little trees, actually. Yeah, but hopefully it evokes the feeling of isolation. So when you get to this illustration in the game book, you've already travelled quite a way. And so to see this would be like, oh, thank God there's a hut. I'm hoping it's that kind of experience. But obviously in a game book, is everything as it seems? What does WTG mean? Oh, who put WTG? Oh, I see, Jam. That should be WTG. Yeah, exactly. Iron Crown used to be encompass Rollmaster rules for young demographic, which overcomplicated the already complex by nature of Sherlock Holmes plot. Oh, I see. Oh, there's loads of comments I've missed. Heart of Ice. Oh, hang on. You managed to safely escape. Oh, yeah, read that. Oh, come on, chap. Way to go. Okay. Mr. Ross was soothly quote has been, "We don't make mistakes, only happy little accidents." Exactly. A true gentleman among artists. Way to go. Yes. Iron Crown tried to use. So the show. So yeah. So I might do some of the Sherlock Holmes. Haven't got a Heart of Ice, but it looks fantastic. Well, I was going to say, Rosalind, I've put up onto the Facebook group, the Edra Tales Facebook group. If you want to vote, I've put up, I think, 6 game books. So The Goblin's Revenge by Andy Prentice, Portal of Chaos by Simon Tudhope, sorry. The Demon Sorcerer by D.L. Lewis. The Alchemist's Folly by Victoria Hancox. The Phantom Self by Victoria Hancox. And Heart of Ice by Dave Morris. So you can go over there and vote now. So far we've only got 1 vote. That's all it takes though. I don't mind if there's only 1 vote. And it's Lee. Let me just see what he wrote here. Lee put here Hard Call. So he seems to think they're all good. Top 3 would be Portal of Chaos, The Phantom Self and Heart of Ice. Does that help? If Goblin Revenge is Osborne, I'm keen. Yes, that is the Osborne one. The same with Portal of Chaos. I'm in the middle doing Portal of Chaos, but oh, I see. But faffing about just the intro so far. Oh, I see. Ah, nice. Well, we've done all the previous 3. The next one to do would be, if we're going to do them in order, is the Goblin's Revenge. But I don't mind doing them out of order. It's not necessarily. Rosalind's put Dave Morris, bias, yeah. So there we go. So, so go to the Edge of Tales Facebook group and vote, because so far it is going to be Portal of Chaos, because Lee is the only one that's voted. So, there we go. Yeah, sorry, getting distracted with Facebook. Heart of Ice is considered the best game ever written, says Jam. Yes, someone else said that. Unless you just said it earlier. Rosalind's, but I have 5 of them and can do different one if you're picking it here. Well, we'll find out. We'll find out, Rosalind. Go on then, I'll vote for it too. Well, if you go onto the Facebook group, I'm only going to accept them on there. Because I can't remember. If people email me or I won't remember to, it's too complicated. So just go to the Facebook group, not Guildlands, Edra Tales, with the sign isn't there, Edra Tales Facebook group. Find the post. I've put the 6 covers as a picture, as one picture. So you'll see each cover, and I've put a description of each of the books. Okay. So there we go. Go on then. I did. Oh, Jan, did you do it? Okay, I've not updated. Let me update. Let me refresh the page. Let me refresh the page. No, I can only see 2. I can only see my comment and Lee's comment. Unless you didn't mean that you'd voted. Anyway. Yes, Portal Case is also Osborne, yeah. Because I really like them, I thought, oh, there's another one that's out. I hadn't realised, because I knew the Goblin's Revenge was out, but I didn't realise Portal of Chaos was out, so I thought we'll put them both on. And we already did Victoria Hancock's Night Shift, which was the really cool, spooky time-travelling one, or sort of, portal travel to time, back in time. It's time travelling. But it's Night Shift, it's really cool, really gothic, horror. And so I noticed she's got 2 more out. She's probably got a few more out as well. So I thought I'd put 2 of hers on there. Alchemist's Folly and The Phantom Self. The Demon Sorcerer, I don't know much about, D.L. Lewis. However, it looked pretty cool. Your homeland is a place of haunted forests and shadowy marshes. Its people live in fear of the foul demons and dreaded beasts that stalk its untamed regions. In order to survive, you have to become highly skilled in the art of battle, forging a name for yourself as a mighty adventurer. You are soon to learn that this terrible evil is growing in the south, an ancient power that threatens to destroy a few bastions of good in the dangerous world. From beyond the snow-clad peaks of Dragurian mountains, a plea for aid has reached your ears. Will you answer the call to arms? Just sounds classic fantasy. Love the cover as well. These are good options. Oh, good. I'm glad you agree. The evil living hospital kicked out ectoplasm. Good. It did. It did. I really enjoyed that one. It was very scary. There was lots of... very well written as well. It's very good at describing things. So you really felt like you were in that hospital. And we did feel like there was that sense of dread that anything round the corner, you know, in any room, something weird and, you know, horrible was happening. It was a hospital, for God's sake. Experiments. Well, in my adult... Oh, sorry. Can't read. Well, I'm about to do a pile... hang on, books... Game books? By Dave Morris and Victoria Hancock's. And the set of Osborne Adventure books. Oh, fantastic. Well, there we go. Well, on the same wavelength already. Yeah, so, Rosa, I don't mind. If you just want to do what you do, that's fine. You know, it doesn't matter if it conflicts with what we're doing. Good. There we go. Well, I wanted to put out ones that people would be excited to pick. Obviously, fighting fantasy... You know, for me, even if people have done Fighting Fantasy, I didn't think people would want to do Death Trap Dungeon because I know a lot of you have done it. But they said, oh no, we've forgotten most of it. Had they? I don't know. But I want to do Fighting Fantasy as well because there's a lot that I've not played, especially the latter ones. So, you know, every now and again we'll do a Fighting Fantasy. And they're 3 Transformers game books. Fantastic. I do Night Shift and the DL book. You'd vote for any of this. Gems, but if anyone wants to see the film Strangler, I love that man. Dave Tolbin helped out after this. Yeah. Osborne Ones really lets you rewind and feel like the adventure 90s kid again. Yeah, the Osborne Ones do have that feel. They're very well written, and also all the clues are in the illustrations, aren't they? And the Nightmare ones, yeah... I've yet to delve into those. I just do different stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's your channel, you know, please just do what you would like to do. Don't worry about it if it clashes here. No, absolutely. Because the thing is, it's so difficult. Because if there are a number of us, you know, like there's Julian who does his on a Thursday night. Sometimes we've overlapped. We've done the same book. Doesn't matter. They have loads of lore than an adventure at the end. Yes, I heard that. I think that's why I sort of steered off of it as a live stream, because I thought what I've discovered, live streams work well with game books if the entries aren't too long, because I'm aware that I don't want you to get bored. So if you've got a lot of decision making to make in a session, then at least you're engaged. That's how my brain works with that. You can start at chapter 8. Oh, really? Yes, in the Nightmare books. Yeah, I had read that, which is why I haven't done a live stream. But I might get one just to see what it's like and then see if we can do a live stream of it. So there we are. So that is where we're at. We've got the proofreading nearly done. Claire, who is a friend of mine, she's a professional proofreader, she has done the whole book, which I'm very, very grateful for. So my next thing is what I'm going to do is... lino cuts. I'm going to finish off the lino cuts. As I say, I've done 8 of these. I want to do 20. That'll be the paperback. The hardback, I'm pretty sure I said I'd do 30 illustrations for that, so I've got another 10 to do for those. So once I've finished the paperback version, then what I'll do is I'll go through all the proofreading. That'll still give people time to do the play testing, and then I'm going to, I'll say, like, right, you've got a week left to do the play testing, and then I'll go through all the playtesting and fix any problems that need fixing, and then we shall start typesetting it. It's never ending. Typeset the actual book, and then we shall then send it to the printers and get the book out to you. Yeah. Eureka! If the rights are able to be acquired, Wallace and Gromit Adventures, where you foil Hitchcockian schemes and Wacky Gadget, would be absolutely cracking. It would be fantastic. Well, Decision 1 would be opening up where they're having tea, wouldn't it? It would be more tea, Gromit. Was it Gromit and Wallace? Wallace and Gromit. Wallace is the bloke, isn't he? Oh, it'd be like, would you like some more Wensleydale? More cheese? I've seen his 2-hour-long talk in Stromness. Okay, that sounds cool. The CEO of Aardman. Oh, I see. Okay. Apparently, my mate Tom Muir knows him. Oh, there you go. It's a good talk. I recommend it if you can see it somewhere. Okay, they talk about Pingu. Pingu is fantastic. I can see the similarities, yeah. Wensleydale cheese, perchance? Yeah. Do you A, choose Edam cheese, B, Wensleydale cheese, or C, Brie? We are all massive Rizzlers on Orkney. We know everyone. Oh, there we go. Well, I don't know anything about Orkney apart from it's relatively out in the wild. So I would imagine you would know everybody then. Yes, they did Morph. I do remember watching Morph. They also did the creature comforts as well, and the gas adverts with the creatures going, no, it's unoffable, isn't it? But they did creature comforts, which was fantastic. Morph was brilliant as well. So there we are. There we are. I think we're going to have to wrap it up here. Was Gumby British or Australian? I think it's Australian. Shaun the Sheep, of course. Shaun the Sheep was fantastic. They did Chicken Run as well, didn't they? Chicken Run. They've done fantastic things. Absolutely fantastic things. So we're going to have to wrap it up here. I have to go. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a lovely... I feel like it's been a more relaxed chat today. I feel like I've sort of... I was so busy on the last sort of month or so that I feel like things are slowly calming down a bit. Yes, thank you, Roslyn. Have a fun weekend to you as well. Hope you have a lovely, lovely weekend. Don't forget to vote. Go to the Edra Tales Facebook group and vote on which gamebook you would like to do next. Vote quickly, though, because I need to order it off of Amazon for it to be here in time. Thank you so much. Good night. Thank you, Rosalind. Thank you, Lerin. Thank you, Jam. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, Lerin. Anyone else? Anyone else? I think everyone's out enjoying the sun, and why not? Thank you to everyone else that watched. I do appreciate it. Until next time, remember, may your thieving never get caught. That's upside down. Next live stream is going to be 7 PM UK time this Wednesday, where we're playing a brand new game book. See you then. Bye.